Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm coming to you from my sunroom in front of my Christmas tree that I just put up today, which I'm super excited about, and I'm wearing my festive Santa hat. And today you're going to listen to the story, Once There Was a Christmas Tree. I think that you're really going to like it. It's one of my holiday favorites. It's a magical snow globe book. See, look, it has kind of like water, but it's really like a thicker kind of gelish substance. Then it has glitter in the bottom of it. So I'm going to bring this to school tomorrow so you can look at it. That's pretty neat. And there's a Christmas tree. And the bears are the main characters in the story. So let's see what happens in this book. Once there was a Christmas tree. My daughter got a hold of this book when she was very little. She colored all over it. So don't ever do that to books. It's almost Christmas, said Mrs. Bear, and we still don't have a Christmas tree. Don't worry, said her husband. I'll find one. Okay, looking for a Christmas tree. Mr. Bear took his saw and went deep into the woods. There he found the biggest tree he could carry and brought it home. Look how big the tree is. Look how long it is. Very, very long. That's going to come into play a little bit later in the story. Mr. Bear put the tree in the living room. It's a beautiful Christmas tree, said his wife, but it's much too tall. Look at, way too tall for his ceilings. So what is he going to do? He's going to cut it right in half. I'll fix that, said her husband. With his saw, he cut the tree in half, right down the middle. Okay. Just then, Mrs. Bear looked out the window. She saw Mr. Fox pulling his son on a sled. They were going out into the woods to look for a tree. Why don't we give them the top of our tree, she said. Mr. Bear agreed. So Mrs. Bear tied a big bow to the top of the Christmas tree and took it outside. So they're going to give it as a present to the Fox family right here. Mr. Fox, called Mrs. Bear. We took our tree and made it two, one half for us and one half for you. Mr. Fox was delighted. Thank you so much, he said. What a wonderful present. Mr. Fox put the tree on the sled. Then he and his son turned the sled around and pulled it home. So he's very excited to have his own Christmas tree. And now he's going to take that home. Once the tree was up, the two foxes stood back to admire it. That means looking at something really closely, like in awe of it, thinking, oh, it's so beautiful. It's the prettiest Christmas tree I've ever seen, said the little fox. His father thought so, too. He loved the tree. I think it looks great in their living room. It's perfect size. Let's see what happens next. They were just about to decorate their tree when Mr. Fox thought of his friend, Old Rabbit. Old Rabbit lives all alone, he said, and he doesn't have a tree this year. Our tree is big, said his son. Why don't we share it with him? Don't you just love that? They're kind of passing on the kindness to someone else. That's why I love this book so much. Good idea, said Mr. Fox. So he took his saw and cut their tree in half. All right, so we're going to take a little pause right here. Do you remember what happened at the beginning of the story? Okay. Who went out in the woods? Who cut the tree down first? That's right, the bears. The bears cut the tree. They took it home. Papa Bear said it's too what? It's way too big. It's way too big for their ceilings. So next they cut it in half and they gave it to the fox. That's right. The fox took it home. Now the fox, we don't remember. We look back in the book. That's what good readers do. You look back in the book if you don't remember. I know you don't have the book in front of you, but I can go back. So the Fox family, Fox is remembering that his friend, the rabbit, right there, old Mr. Rabbit, he doesn't have any family. He's all by himself. So he's going to give him half of that tree to the rabbit. Okay? Together, Mr. Fox and his son took the top of their Christmas tree to Old Rabbit's house. When Old Rabbit opened the door, Mr. Fox and his son said, we took our tree and made it two, one half for us and one half for you. They realized they don't need a tree that big. They'd rather share kindness with someone else. I love that. Tears came to Old Rabbit's eyes, tears of joy because he was so happy. when he saw their gift. How kind of you both, he said. So he's super happy to have the tree. And he's really, really happy that they were thinking about him. Old Rabbit brought that Christmas tree into his house and put it in his window. Next, he put a silver star on top of the tree. Then, one by one, he added the ornaments. Old Rabbit was almost done when, oops, one ornament that looked like a carrot bounced off the tree. See that right there? So it's not really a carrot. Okay, it just looks like a carrot. But it falls right next to this hole right here. It says it kept rolling until it stopped by a hole in the floor. Thank goodness it didn't fall in, said Old Rabbit. That was my favorite ornament. All right, let's see what happens next. Just as Old Rabbit was about to pick up the ornament, it was pulled into the hole. Peeking down into the hole, he saw Mother Mouse and her 3 children. They were trying to eat the carrot ornament. Don't eat that, he shouted. It's made of wood. So look, they were probably really hungry and so excited that they received this, or that it kind of fell through the floor. They have their forks and their plates ready to go. And look, I just love the details in the bed. See how it's a pencil and a crayon for the posts of the bed? I just think that's so cute. But going back to the story, so obviously they're hungry, okay? So let's see what happens next. Old Rabbit saw that the mouse family was hungry. Oh, do you think he's going to do something kind for them? I think so too. So he invited them to dinner. Afterwards, Old Rabbit and Mother Mouse chatted and watched the children play. It's nice to have friends, said Old Rabbit, smiling. Oh, so now he's not by himself. Everyone likes to have friends, not to be alone all the time. It was getting late, and Mother Mouse carried her sleepy children home and tucked them into bed. Old Rabbit went to bed too, but he could not sleep. When he looked at his pretty tree in the window, he knew why. It's Christmas Eve, and Christmas Eve is the day before Christmas. He thought, or the night before Christmas, he thought the mouse family should have a Christmas tree of their own. So what do you think he's going to do with his tree, boys and girls? That's right, he's going to cut it in half and give it to them. Old Rabbit went to the window and cut the top of his tree. You were correct if that's what you thought. So now there's another tree. Quietly, he tiptoed over to the hole and slipped the little tree into the mouse family's room. How do you think they're going to feel waking up in the morning seeing this? I think they're going to be so excited. Merry Christmas, he whispered. I took my tree and made it 2, 1/2 for me and 1/2 for you. Then Old Rabbit tiptoed back into bed and he went to sleep. How do you think that rabbit feels? I think that Rabbit feels so happy that he did something kind for someone else, and I think that's how the characters in this story feel after they did something so kind for someone else. And when the mice wake up and the mama mouse wakes up, she's going to be so happy, I think, that they have a Christmas tree. Once there was a Christmas tree. See how big it was? But sharing made it 4. So the Fox family, Mr. Mouse, the older mouse, and the Mouse family. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to ask you tomorrow, boys and girls, what happened in the story. First, there was the big, giant tree. So we're going to put these pictures in order. Okay? And then, what happened after that? Okay? So we're going to sequence. That means put in order. What happened first, then, next, or next, then, and then last. Yay! And that is the end of our story. And they're all having a wonderful Christmas at the end. And I just love how they're all together. So that tree kind of maybe made them all friends. Or made them have a very, very Merry Christmas. That's why I love this story so much. I hope that you liked it too. So be prepared to talk about it tomorrow. We will be reviewing it. We're going to go over the events in the story. And we're going to talk about what happened first, then, next, last. Thank you. See you next time.